YouTube, I thought today I would get in front of the camera and talk a little bit about some of the things I've learned and avoid some mistakes I've made when planning a trip to France. Some of these will be basic, some of them may be things you have not thought of, but I'm going to go over 10 things that I think are good tips to use when planning a trip to France. And obviously, number one is going to be accommodation. The earliest you can, I will do this 6 to 12 months in advance. As soon as we have our itinerary built and we know where we're gonna wanna stay, I lock up accommodation immediately. That's my first step. And because just generally, the closer you get to your travel date, the less options you're going to have as far as where you wanna stay, amenities, and price. All of that will get more negative the closer you get to the date that you're wanting to stay. And the second thing after accommodation is going to always be transportation, because we usually spend part of the time in Paris and part of the time out in the country. So for us, that means planning a spot to stay in the city and a place out in the country. And that means train and rental car. So it has to all be done sort of simultaneously. So when I'm doing accommodations, I'm also looking at where does the train come in that's the closest to where we're staying, or vice versa, and rental agency car pickup in that town near the train station. And we use Avis, so that narrows my focus down even farther as far as what town and what train and where we're staying. So plan that, plan your train ticket into the city where the rental car will be, but also at the same time coordinate arrival time of train with the hours that the rental agency is open. Because not only at the end of the day, where if you get there too late, you're just spending the night because they're closed. If you get there, like I'm not a morning person, I'd rather get up and get a 10 a.m. train out. And if you arrive at noon to a smaller town in the countryside, France takes long lunches, and a lot of these businesses will close for like they're closed. So if you get there at noon and hop off the train and you get to the rental agency at noon, you may be sitting on your suitcase for 2 hours waiting for them to open back up so you can get your car. So just watch that when you're planning your train and your rental car pickup. And the other thing about that is kind of map where is the agency for the car, because it's not usually on site. So you may be dragging luggage a little ways, and we did that in the rain once. We had to drag luggage kind of through town in Cannes, I think. And the other thing, just check where it is, because you may need to get a taxi. So allow time at the same time you're traveling and planning the train timing. Allow time for delays, allow time for getting a taxi to your rental car agency, and definitely for delays. We had an 1.5-hour delay, not even counting strikes and whatnot, but delay. We had a train that stopped for an 1.5 hours in the middle of nowhere because there was a tree down across the track. So just be aware of that, be ready to roll with whatever happens, but also be aware that if you get there too late, they are not going to make allowances for that. Another thing, when you get to the rental counter, car rentals, that I have learned a couple of things to do to save money. When you book your rental car with your credit card, we all use mileage cards and, you know, kind of plan and work around points and whatnot, but look into the backside of your card and check and see if they have international rental car insurance coverage. You may already have insurance, and they will try to forcibly tell you you have to buy the rental car insurance at the pickup counter, and you may not. You may already have it through the card that you booked it with. So I will actually print that out and carry it with me from my credit card that says we have coverage for this, for any rentals, here's what it covers, print it out, show it to them, and then when they try to sell it to you, you can just be like, back off, we have it. So you can save money there. The other thing to be aware of with rentals in international, I don't know, I haven't ever had it happen in the US, but when we were in France once, our whole trip, the whole week we had the car, on top of paying the rental already, we had prepaid. They also put a $300 hold on our card for the whole week. So if you're on a budget, $300 can make a difference off of your credit card. So we had to allow for the fact that there wasn't that extra money on that card for the whole time we were on the trip. $300 was zeroed out. So kind of be aware of that. And one other thing to be aware of with the car, we had a hybrid, so we didn't need gas a lot, but you do need gas. And you will find in the French countryside, I don't know about the rest of Europe, but there is not a gas station on every corner like there might be in the States, which is where we travel from. So if you're even thinking that you might need gas, my advice and what we've learned, if you see a gas station, don't pass it, just pull in, get gas. Because 3 reasons that you may not find a gas station, and we nearly ran out of gas once. Find a gas station, you may not find one at all. If you find it, it may not be open, and if it's open, it may not take your credit card. So, and we actually had that happen. We had a situation where it was open, and we pulled in, and none of the cards I put in that thing worked. It just kept spitting it back out and saying, please try again. So I had to go in and have a conversation in French with a lovely gentleman who came out and put his card in the machine for me, pumped our gas, and then I gave him euros. I don't know why he did that, but it was lovely and it was much appreciated. So that is definitely something to watch for. And kind of on the piggyback on that, watch, before you get into the countryside, watch for French national holidays, because you will find that they have national holidays that we know nothing about, and you may go out on a Tuesday and find that everything is closed. We went our last night in Normandy one year. It was our first time there, and we thought, hey, last night in Normandy, it's beautiful, let's just go out and let's fill up the car with gas so we return it tomorrow, and let's grab some groceries so we can just make a little meal in the B&B tonight, not have a bunch of leftovers. So went into town, gas stations closed at 5 o'clock on a Tuesday. So we're like, okay, let's just get some groceries. Grocery store, the bars are down. Okay, let's just go to a restaurant. Went to a restaurant, restaurant's closed. So I finally just asked a lady on the street, I was like, why is everything closed? She's like, it's a holiday, everything's closed here. So be aware of that and just be ready to roll with it, but plan to have some food and get those holidays, make a list of them. If you're gonna be there during the holidays like that, especially in the countryside, get some groceries. Because we ended up eating at McDonald's on our last night in the French countryside. It was the best Big Mac I've ever had, but it was sort of epically strange to be, French countryside, Normandy, cider, all the things, and we were sitting in the drive-thru at a McDonald's. So keep that in mind. And circling back to a couple of quick tips about trains, and we haven't done the big, like the bullet trains, the high-speed trains, so I can't speak to that. But the smaller regional trains, the SNCF, the WeGo, some of those that are more the short 2-hour trip, don't bother with first class. We've done that, and it only costs a little bit more, but I don't see that it's anything different except it's an assigned seat number. And I have had the worst time with finding the seat numbers. I don't know what it is, but the cars are not, your ticket says what car you're supposed to get in and what seat you have. It seems simple. And I've had the worst time finding which car to get in. And sometimes what car you're getting in you don't know what car it is until you're up in between the cars looking at the door going into the car. And by that time the train is moving. They give you it stops, people get on, it pulls out. So you don't have a lot of time. So just get on. But I've never done it right. So far not once have I done the train seating right. So we get in the car, we think it's the right one. Here's our seat number, we find the seat number, and even that is iffy. The numbers sometimes they're laid out. I don't know who laid them out, but they're not in order. So we finally find the seat number we're looking for, and someone's in it. And then you have this awkward conversation in French on a moving train, like, hey, I think you're in my seat. And they're like, no, in fact, you're in the wrong car. And then I'm standing in the aisle with all of our luggage. So just get a second class ticket, and I think as far as I understand, you just get on and sit wherever you want, which is pretty much what we end up doing anyway. So second class tickets for the trains. And the only other thing that I've ran into that threw me, because I like detail and I like to know what's going on ahead of time in all cases, and the ticketing, I like to print out a hard copy, and some of them will not let you print that out until a day or two before the train ride that you're going to be on. And if you're like us and you get there a week before the train trip that you're taking, you can't print your ticket out ahead of time and bring it with you. And if you don't have a downloadable ticket, or maybe my phone is old, I don't know, but I had a couple times where I ran into times where I could not download a ticket. So I didn't have a QR code I could use on my phone, and I didn't have a printable ticket. So there was that sort of a 24-hour panic of how's this gonna work? And it always works out. But just kind of watch that when you're booking those short regional tickets. Watch that you can get a downloadable ticket that you can view on your phone, because they will come by, once you get on the trains, they will come by and check tickets. And I have seen people that they've caught that didn't have a ticket, or they lost it. So have that handy when you're on the train, because they are going to come look for it and they are going to check it. And they usually roll their eyes at us because they look at the seat number and they're like, whatever. So that's all I know about trains. So far we're not expert. We are not expert level on the trains. Third thing we're going to talk about, some additional tidbits that you might not think of when you're planning, and if you're driving, international driver's license. Not super necessary. It's not like you can't do it. You can drive over there, I believe, if I understand it correctly. You can drive in, again, France is what we know. You can drive there with a US driver's license, but you can go to, we go to AAA, and you have to get the little passport size photo, which some places will take it for you. Sometimes you have to go to Walgreens and get the little passport photo where you stand in front of the white backboard and it looks like someone who isn't you. Take that over to AAA and just tell them you want an international driver's license. It's like 15 bucks. It's not a lot, but it gives you a little thing, and it's official for Europe, and then you're good to drive on the roads, and it just basically is something that they recognize as, yes, you are legal to drive, and because they don't know what an Idaho license looks like, California driver, they don't know. So this just makes it's an official thing, and it's worth it to get it. The other thing to look for is medical travel insurance, not travel insurance. And this is hard to find. I had to kind of crawl around the back of the internet to find medical travel insurance. There's all kinds of travel insurance that is, if you lose your bags, if your flight is delayed, if you get sick or whatever. But what if you're on your trip and you fall off the cliffs at Dover, or you're hiking in Normandy and you go off the D-Day beaches and break your ankle and you need a doctor? And some of our insurance in the US will cover, but not all will cover. If you're international, they don't cover it. So check your insurance and make sure that you have coverage. And I will put a link to the company we've used every time we've gone. Super cheap, and you have high everything, like high coverage. If you need a life flight out, if you die, if you need a limb amputated, it's high coverage. And I think the most we ever paid for a long trip, we spent 17 days in France, and I think for two of us at like our age, we're not young, we paid, it was between $95 and $125. I don't remember off the top of my head, but also it's very affordable, super worth it. We've never needed it, but I've never gone without it. So just look into international driver's license and travel medical insurance. Number 4, international travel plan for your phone. Don't forget this. You will be sorry. I'm always sorry. I'm still sorry. I'm still regretting. I have so many regrets. We have Verizon, and every time we've gone, I get on the phone with them, I get online, you click the choices, you change your account, get the international travel plan, but I don't buy the, there's always one that's like a month of whatever, unlimited, all the things. I don't do that. I just do the daily. We have 2 phones, and I think it's $10, not like $9.99 a piece per day. So you can figure on $20 a day for any day that you use the phone. But if you don't use your phone to make international calls or texts, then that fee doesn't kick in. So if you can stay off your phone and don't text your friends in the US, then you skip paying $10 for that. So you can kind of plan. We end up using my phone, especially, we use it every day when we're gone, but my husband's phone, some days we won't. So he'll get by with it. We didn't have to pay for that day. So that is a really handy thing to have, but you're still making a phone call to Verizon from some backwoods place in the countryside in Europe, trying to figure out why your phone won't make anything but emergency phone calls. And we've always gotten it fixed, but there's usually a level of frustration with the international phone thing, and I don't know if it's just me or maybe I'm too old to figure it out. But so look into international phone plans. For number 5, I make a complete folder. I make a travel folder, and all these things I've just talked to you about, I will put them all in a folder. So you have everything on your phone, I know that. And if you have a laptop and you have the cloud, and we have all these things and all this technology, but maybe I'm just old, but I like a hard copy of the things in case you go somewhere and you don't have Wi-Fi, or your phone gets wet, or it gets stolen, or it's not with you, whatever. A separate folder with, everything. I put all the documents, I put all the rental documents, all the emails from the B&B, all the confirmation numbers, flight confirmation numbers, train confirmation, ticket numbers, times and dates, all the emails back and forth to all of those things, all the travel insurance, copy of your passport and your ID. We do a separate copy of our passport and our ID, keep them separate from the passport and the ID. So if you misplace one, you at least have a copy of the info of the other one. I actually will write on our passport copy, I will write the phone numbers and addresses for the US Embassy, where we're going to be. And you can actually also check in with the embassy where you're going. And there's an online portal where you can go and put in your info and put in your passport numbers, and you can literally let the State Department know that you're going to be there, when you're going to be there, where you're going to be. It's pretty specific, and I'm not big on sharing where I'm at with everybody, but I do it because in case of an emergency and some international incident, at least your country knows where you are, and they can hopefully make arrangements to get you some help and get you out of the situation. In that list, I also include phone numbers for all the credit cards you're carrying in case they got lost or stolen. You need to have those phone numbers, because if the card is lost, you can't make the phone call with the card, the phone number on the back of the card, because the card's not with you. So write them down on a piece of paper, not in your phone, on a piece of paper. Credit card numbers, contact numbers for everyone in your life who you would ever want to make a phone call to while you're out of the country. Not in your phone, again, hard copy. And then because I'm a nerd, I also make a full budget and a full itinerary list, and I have those printed out, and those are with me because I keep us to a pretty strong budget while I'm on any of our trips. So I am doing the budget list the whole time we're there. I'm checking things off the budget. Next, number 6. Before you leave, usually a day or two before you leave, call your bank and tell them you are going to be gone, and you need to put a vacation note on your debit card, credit card, whatever you carry with them that you will have with you, especially in Europe. Tell them, you need to tell them what dates, and I always include the flight dates just in case. Tell them what dates you're going to be gone, tell them what cities you're going to be in, what countries you're going to be in, and then make them read it back to you. Because we've had a meal on the phone, yeah, we got it, you're good, you're good, you're good, and then we get to Paris, and when you're in Paris, where we live, if you're getting on the flight and you land at 8 in the morning in Paris, it is the middle of the night here. So if your bank card doesn't work so you can pay the taxi or do anything on the ground when you first get to the city, you're not making a phone call to your bank for about 8 hours. So make really, really sure. And I mean, you won't even be able to use it at the airport if you change planes somewhere. So just call them, make them really aware that you're taking your debit cards out of your area. That's one of my big things that I try to never forget. And then also change your, at kind of last day, these are last day things, last couple days before you leave. The next things I would do is change your email to like a standard, message that says, thanks for emailing, I'll get back to you, and change your voicemail. And you don't have to say, hey, we're in Europe. Just say, I'm out of the office, or I'm out of service for a few days. I'll call you when I get back after this point. So that was number 7, change your emails and your voicemails. Number 8 is change your mail. If you're going to be gone for, if you're gone for a weekend, it's not a big deal. But if you're gone for a week or longer, call or you might have to go into the post office, but go and let the mail service, you can probably do it online. I'm old, sorry. Online. Go online to the USPS website and put a hold on your mail until you get home. You can put a travel hold on your mail delivery so that your mailbox doesn't fill up with mail, especially you might lose something, and it also is obvious if people are checking your mail, looking at mailboxes, they can tell packages are piling up, mail is not getting picked up, they know you're gone. Which also leads me right into the number 9, which is don't advertise that you're gone. I know we're all on social media, we're all on Facebook and Instagram, and I see people all the time like, ooh, 90 days until Italy, 49 days till Tahiti. Don't do that. Yeah, unless your privacy settings are grinched way down to like pretty intense, you'd be surprised who gets to see all that, and especially some of us that aren't paying attention, and we have 50,000 friends on Instagram or whatever. You just announced to a large portion of the population that your house may or may not be empty in 49 days for a week or 2 weeks or however long you're gone. If you don't have someone watching your house, you kind of just advertised it. So zip it. I know it's exciting, but just on a side note, honestly, no one cares that we're going on trips. Not to be weird, but in general, you'll find that most people, they're not as excited about your trip as you are. Really, no one is going to be as excited about your trip as you are. So we just don't say we're leaving until we get back, and then we'll tell our immediate friends, or not even immediate, immediate friends, yes, and immediate family, yes, but as far as the wider world, no, we tell people about travel after we've done it, and so here I am. The last and the number 10 thing that I would want to say to not forget, and this is just a little thing that I just remembered, especially if you're going to Europe, 2 things to not forget. Bring adapters. And I don't have it, didn't bring a prop, but it's the little plug-in adapters for all of your plug-in things, because I know Europe and England have 2 different adapters, but they are not the same as ours. So if I bring a flat iron, I don't bring any other appliances, but phones, all your plug-in stuff, we have the little thing, they have 2 two weird holes that are different. So buy the adapters. I got ours from Rick Steves' website for like $1. So get 2 of them, get a couple, get a handful. There's an English one too that's it's a bigger, it has a hole, it's like a 3-way thing, and it's not expensive, but you need it. So, and I wouldn't want to hit the ground in Paris and be looking for adapters. So just get those. And the other thing to not forget, and it's just a tiddly thing, but bring portable, those little fold up garbage bags, like a shopping bag. They fold up to where they're just a little, ball. But you bring at least 2 of those, because especially what I've seen in, that's my dryer, Paris, especially anywhere in France, probably the rest of Europe, you get groceries, you go to the little market, you put all your stuff on the counter, and you're feeling very local and like I did all of this, yay, and they're checking all your stuff out, and they just take your money and say bonjour, and you're like, it's all just sitting here, and they're already checking the next person out, like move. They don't bag your stuff, and they don't give you bags. There aren't bags. I mean, you can buy a bag right there usually. So we did that once, we ended up buying, but the first time it happened, we panicked and just so we just took all this stuff off the belt and just put it back in the cart, and just trundled it out to the car and put it in the trunk loose and just carried it to our B&B. So we learned really quick to bring at least 2. I have 2 of the little ones that they go in your pocket, they like fold up into themselves, but I also have like a nice folding kind of a square bottomed, nice handled, it's kind of a vinyl, but it folds up nice and flat. And I have 3 bags that I always bring, and we have always used them always. I mean, because you're walking through the city and you want to grab some groceries at a market, you pop in, you better have a bag. Anyway, these are my 10 tips that I have come up with for things that are kind of nuts and bolts to do with, like, yay, we're going to Europe, but also don't forget these things will make your trip a lot easier. I hope you enjoyed this, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.